I really belong in here. I didn't actually do anything wrong.
You don't need to tell me, honey. I ain't never heard of a man getting killed when he didn't get just what was coming to him.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff. And this week we are also joined by our very special friend and podcast lawyer, Alex. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Alex. I am the podcast attorney, and I am being held at gunpoint to appear on this show this evening.
Hell
Doesn't
yeah,
she
you
sound
are.
enthusiastic, folks? Doesn't she sound professional?
I've never heard her
true.
speak in this register in my life, and we've been friends since first
That
grade.
was her
Who
I'm
is
an
this
attorney
woman?
voice.
Well, I am
To be
professional.
honest, I threatened the three of them with
You did.
dismemberment and bodily harm if they didn't
Yeah.
have me on for this specific
was
episode.
scary.
So really,
And
it's kind
Don't
of the
say it was
opposite.
scary. You don't remember that because I've mentioned it multiple times and everybody goes, I wasn't there for that.
I was just vibing with the episode, Chelsea. My God, let me lie plainly in front of a lawyer. I haven't taken any oath. I am not under oath
Do you regularly lie to your audience members? I mean, this is something we should discuss.
all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm
I
spreading
love to lie.
misinformation. I lie constantly.
No.
Just remember, this can be used against you in a court of law.
Oh God.
Once it gets on the internet, it's real.
It's
so
true.
like
That's
anything
true.
that we
Oh
say,
yeah, of course. I mean,
and then it
that's
gets
how the law works.
published.
Monica was there. Sydney remembers it. Yeah, we're all on the same page.
We were all
I'm-
there
I'm-
when you threatened us with bodily harm if we didn't have you on this very, very special episode that we are having
That's-
today.
That's
And
correct.
why is this episode special? Not just because Alex is here, because
It's our
It-
100th episode. No one was saying it. I don't know. No one was saying
I
it.
felt like Sydney was building up to something. I didn't want to jump in and take her moment, but then I was like, who's gonna go? That's classic.
that's a
though.
first, Chelsea.
So weird.
Wow.
Alex sue her.
We've
for
come
slander.
together today for our 100th
Wow.
episode to break up in front of you.
I can't sue Sydney because she already has me on retainer.
Yeah, hell
Her
yeah, I
dad
do.
has me on retainer.
Alex is on here to mediate the dissolvement of the Spooky Tuesday LLC.
Which really, when you think about it, is not that different than my role in general life, which is to mediate most of my friends' problems. So I mean, it doesn't
I've
really
never had
matter.
a problem before, so I can't speak to this.
Yeah, Chelsea's never had a
oh,
problem before.
That's true.
Thank
That's
you
true
for
about
backing
Chelsea.
me up. But yeah, this is our 100th episode. It's very special. If you listened to our Final Destination 4 episode, you already know what's happening. But if you don't, I'll break it down for you. This is our 100th episode. You guys know that's a big number. You've learned how to count. And so when
Triple
we realized
digit.
it was coming up, I know, like, it's a big deal.
We're gonna have to type
uh,
one whole more number every time we upload an episode. That's a lot of
It's
work.
crazy
out
Just
here.
think about that. Just think about that.
But
That's
when we
life.
realized our 100th episode was coming up, we were like, okay, we have to pick a good movie, something really spooky, something really classic, iconic, lives up to the milestone. And then we realized it was a Fifth Tuesday, and I went, guys, from me, because that actually, I was lying earlier. That is my one problem. If they tried to strip me of a Fifth Tuesday, I would weep. Possibly, we'll never know. We didn't have to find out.
Because it's not going to happen. So
It's not
why
gonna
would we
happen.
ever find out?
We don't
Fifth
break
Tuesday is an
tradition, okay?
institution. This Fifth Tuesday is our 100th episode. We picked something a little spooky. We picked something with a lot of, it could maybe be deemed a slasher if you like to stretch
Yeah.
definitions.
There are
and
several
we picked
deaths.
something, so many, really, lots of
Many
murderers
deaths. Yeah,
all
lots of-
around.
We're
Yeah.
big on the death.
Yeah.
And we picked something that allows us to do a little bit of a sing along. Because this episode we are doing the, in my opinion, best movie musical of all time, the 2002 film Chicago.
You did not just call it the best movie musical of all time while Sydney and I are sitting here knowing that Mamma Mia 2, Here We Go Again, is the best movie
You know
musical of all
that I
time.
don't like Mamma Mia 2,
I
Here We
like
Go
this
Again.
better than
And I don't
Mamma
want to
Mia.
have this discourse right now. I think we need to move forward before things get heated.
I will accept that Chicago is perhaps the most cinematic movie musical of all time, perhaps the best acted movie musical of all
Mamma
time.
Mia 2, Here We Go Again can be the best original movie musical of all time. How about that? It was not a
I'm
stage
okay with
I feel
that.
like
It was
that
not a
works.
stage for. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I can make peace with that.
All right, good,
Tight.
good.
In
Because
I'm so
Bonfant's
glad.
name, amen. I can make peace with that.
Well, and so Chicago, they credit as the revitalization of like Hollywood's big musicals again too. This and
Yeah.
Moulin Rouge, which, you know, came out like right around the same time. And people were just like, holy shit, we love this. This movie won like Best Picture and like 5 other Oscars.
And it was a very
Incredible.
controversial Best Picture win.
It was.
so it was like the first musical win in like 34 years, right? Or something like
Yeah.
that. Was the last one no, not Lolita. What is it? Oh, it's like Lolita. It's so fucked up. The one that won an Oscar, and it's about a child falling in love with an adult man, and it's very fucked up.
Are you
Ugh,
talking about
ugh,
the one with Natalie?
it's a lady's
Portman?
name. No,
That's
no,
a
no,
spy
no, no,
movie,
no.
isn't that, Alex?
Kind
No,
of.
this was old musical. It's a musical.
Annie.
And not Annie. My God.
Well, and
Jesus
Annie is
fucking
early 80s
Christ,
too.
Chelsea. Oh my God.
They find familial love.
Is she wrong though? I don't think Chelsea's
Oh my
wrong.
God. Oh my God. We'll move on and I'll Google it. So talk about something else. Jesus
Anyway,
Christ.
this movie is iconic. It is incredible. It's about murder. The IMDb description reads, 2 death row murderesses develop a fierce rivalry while competing for publicity, celebrity, and a sleazy lawyer's attention. I saw it in theaters. I remember seeing it in theaters, and I remember my mom like freaking out at the credits and basically being like, this needs to win Oscars. And she was right, and it did.
Yeah, like I think that all moms love this movie, which says a lot about men and
They do.
husbands.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Because my mom fucking loved this musical so much. I loved it too. I grew up on the soundtrack, and you know who else grew up on the soundtrack? Alex here, because we
Yes.
carpooled to school every day with my mommy, and she made us listen to this, and we, we loved it. We sang
did.
we sang along.
And I wasn't allowed to see the movie. My mom was like, no, it's too racy. You can't see it. So I was just allowed to listen to the soundtrack. Monica was 10 and I was 9. So my mom said when I was 10,
Yeah,
I
it
could
was double
finally watch
digit.
it. And it was like a huge thing in 3rd grade or 4th grade, whatever it was, that like Monica was allowed to see it and I wasn't. But
That
I
was probably
do
like
we
the
all know
only
Monica
time
was
that ever
sheltered.
happened, because I was so freaking sheltered with
That's
all
honestly-
movies as a kid.
I just learned to pirate after that. But I do have like a little note in
4th
my
grade,
little notes.
AOL.com, dial up, go to Pirate Bay.
not probably by 6th grade, but
Okay.
I do have a little note here about Monica's mom that I put in my notes about this movie, which says, did Sandy turn us gay? Question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point.
It's
Which
her
I
fault.
think is really
It's her
my big
triumph.
takeaway. Yeah, we used to sing this. We had like the routine down. We had it divided between who got to sing which part in Cell Block
Oh,
Tango
yeah.
in the car on the way to school, and like how many times we could listen to it before we would reach school. Like we were committed.
Oh yeah, and that CD, like I'm surprised we didn't wear that shit out. We were playing it so often.
Every day for like 2 years. We listened to Chicago soundtrack on the way to school. We were obsessed. Obsessed.
Sydney, what was your childhood experience?
So I saw it, I loved it, but my favorite Chicago memory was actually my senior year of high school.
Uh-huh.
And we were we were in Georgia visiting my aunt, my uncle, and my parents and my aunt, my uncle were all getting like absolutely hammered. When I mean
Slizzard.
like
Classic.
absolutely hammered,
Classic
like
Sydney's
they were
family.
in the basement, just like getting wasted. And so me and my cousin Zach and my cousin Kayla were all upstairs, and we were like, let's watch Chicago. And so we were like, okay, great. And so they're like Zach's like 6 months younger than me, and Kayla's like 3 years younger than me. And so we're up there, and like Cell Block Tango comes on, and me and Kayla are like trying to convince Zach to like dance and sing with us, and he's just like, ugh. And
my
then,
God, Zach must have
I'm a
hated
man.
that.
but all of a sudden, I like the adults downstairs heard what we were listening to, and so one by one they started to come up, and they hit like my mom comes up first and she eats shit. She hits the stair, eats shit, immediately starts like singing. My aunt comes up.
A fall can't stop her.
She eats shit at the exact same spot that my mom did, keeps up singing. And then my dad and my uncle, and all four of them fell in the exact same spot. And then everybody was just in the living room singing Chicago.
Oh my
A
god.
little lizard was really trying to
Beautiful.
stop them, but you can't keep this baby down.
No,
You cannot.
nothing
Everybody
can
loves
stop
the
you.
cell block tango.
It is.
Can't
the
blame
greatest
'em.
Guess
song
what?
of all time.
All men have it coming. Yes,
They
all
do.
men.
I do think Fred Casely in the beginning, to actually get into the content of the movie itself.
Wait,
I do think
before we do
yeah.
that, it was Gigi. That's it. I
Oh,
was talking about Gigi.
Gigi's from the 50s. It is a
yeah.
proper
A
old
lot of
movie.
other ones. A lot of
Think-
other ones won after that. But I was thinking about Gigi. That's the one that's like low key, high key, really fucked up. Don't watch
Yeah.
it.
I used to watch that with my grandma a lot when I was little because it has the song "Thank Heavens for Little Girls," and I was like
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
obsessed with that song.
Yeah, and then it
Uh-huh.
fucking changes the context of that fucking song.
Want to be
Oh
clear
my
that I
God.
was like 5, and so the context certainly eluded me.
I had
but-
sang that song in a choir, and then I found out it was about thinking little girls are hot. Essentially, horrible. We have
my
to
mom
move
used to
on.
sing
No.
me the prostitute song from Guys and Dolls as like a lullaby. And then when we did Guys and Dolls in middle school, I was like, interesting. Noted.
So fun to have heard this.
Ladies
Anyway, we can
are
talk about the
weird.
movie.
Yeah, about the movie.
We can do it.
Fred Casely sucks, and he did deserve it, I think specifically. Here's
he
the
totally
thing.
deserved it.
Liars gotta die, except for me when I lied earlier.
I mean, I don't
That
even
wasn't
think
a lie,
it's
it's
the
on the internet
lying
now.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think it's the lying for me. They really spin it in this movie, and I think every time I'm not actively watching the movie, I think about it in terms of he was using her for sex, and then she found out and killed him that he couldn't get her famous. He's also just like such a bitch. Like they
He,
fuck
like,
and then
throws
he
her across
immediately
the
leaves the
room.
room. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
physically violent with her. I think
Yeah.
she is in the right. I don't think they needed all this song and dance. Cancel the musical. Just let her off.
How dare you say
and
that? We need all the songs.
We do
We have
need-
to
yeah, we
razzle
do.
dazzle them, as you know.
And I want to lay the groundwork for some delightful foreshadowing, which is that as the podcast attorney and resident most annoying person in this friend group, I do have some like really
got
thrilling and
competition.
compelling legal commentary on Roxy's court case that we'll get to at some point. So really, if you're in this for the spooky content, you picked the wrong day.
This
Well, they
is
picked
a
the
law
wrong
podcast
episode.
now.
Yeah.
Prepare to learn, bitch. Alex and I were watching this together yesterday, and I hadn't seen it in years. Neither had she. And she was like, "I have so many ideas for notes," she said aloud, and started like writing it down. And I was like, how does she have ideas for notes? I'm barely keeping my jaw off the floor as I stare lovingly into Catherine Zeta-Jones's eyes. I haven't had a single thought this entire movie. But that's what law school does to you, folks. Makes you
It
real.
ruins your ability to enjoy movies.
You can't even look at Catherine Zeta-Jones without having a big person thought. Jesus Christ. Good for you, babe.
Yeah. My soul has withered and my heart is dead, but it's fine. I had a great time watching Chicago with Monica yesterday.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think the thing about this movie is that it is like from moment one, it's just so fun. I think sometimes movie musicals like struggle to incorporate this. Okay, I hate to bring it there. I think a problem with Glee was that sometimes they
Jesus
couldn't
Christ.
decide. Sometimes they couldn't decide if a song was happening and being performed in reality or happening in a fantasy world, and they never quite figured out like how to incorporate things super well.
Yeah.
But the director for this movie, whose name I believe is Rob Marshall, and I've checked and that's correct.
It is correct.
He came in with a really I brought up Annie earlier because he had just done like a TV movie musical version of Annie for Disney, and that's like how he got this job, which is his first like theatrical film, which is insane that it was such a
Gaudy
like
goodness.
high
And
value production that won a bajillion Oscars.
He also choreographed the whole thing, which is crazy because like the original stage production was choreographed by Bob Fosse, who's very famous for a million reasons. And so to sort of take on that mantle in both roles, I think is really, really interesting.
Insane. Yeah.
Like what the pressure?
He came in with this really strong concept of basically being like, what if the songs, the musical, the fantasy of it was like from Roxy's perspective, her imagination that's like happening in her brain. And so they're able to do some like really strong, fascinating, fabulous like differences between the reality as they're playing off the fantasy of the song, what you're seeing versus what's being presented in this like big production. And also the way they incorporate it, like it's like song after song after song, especially in the beginning. Like there are so few moments that are like just speaking for more than, I don't know, 2 minutes at a time. But they weave the like speaking scenes through the songs, and I don't know, they just put it together so amazing. It's so strong.
It's so strong. And also the soundtrack version doesn't have any of those talking bits in it, which I really appreciate for belt singing standpoint, which is an important standpoint to have.
That's true.
You were
they
saying,
do have
Alex.
some of the talking bits that are important, like in
ones.
Funny Honey when Amos is
being
a
interviewed.
little bitch.
Yeah, but there are
so
some parts
important
where
to
it
me.
like cuts away from the song completely and Mama Morton says something sassy and it's not in the actual
They leave the banger bits
OST.
and then they take away the parts that you don't need so that you can perform to your optimal abilities.
And then something I read that was interesting was that it's like the cutaway, like the song cutaways are supposed to be sort of in a vaudeville style, right? Because the whole point is that like Velma Kelly's a vaudeville performer, like that's time appropriate for the 20s, and that's Roxy's goal, right? So of course her imagination is conceptualizing these like big, grand, dramatic moments through the lens of like a vaudeville performance. So you have like the scene with where Billy Flynn is the ventriloquist, and it's like so heavily vaudeville inspired, or like When You're Good to Mama, so vaudeville, and the costumes and everything.
And they execute that well. Like that's not easy to do.
No, and it's really fun, and it harkens back to like a great aspect of Hollywood history, and it's really, it allows them to sort of have the drama and the glitz and the
I like the drama. You know
the
what
glitz
it
and the glam.
also allows them to have all this whole setup? It allows us to have Taye Diggs.
Oh, and thank God.
Yes,
for that.
it does.
And thank God for that. One, an incredibly good looking man. Two, his voice, I want him to sing me to sleep. Just his speaking voice, the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Mysterious, wonderful, guides us through the craziness of the show. Incredible, beautiful. I wish that
he's like the
guide me
pianist
through the
in
craziness of everything.
He's just like the pianist in Glee.
Thank you.
My
Thank
God.
you.
I saw this tweet the other day that was like, I don't know what it was. It was like some sort of like I slap myself in the face every time I have the urge to say, oh, they did this song on Glee. And that's what's happening right now.
Why did they have a whole
just
Chicago
let the song
episode?
play.
That's their crime. Ryan Murphy, respond.
I don't need that.
Ryan Murphy, my mortal enemy. That's okay though. That's okay that they didn't do it. Maybe it's for the best. But yeah, I just think they come out so strong out of the gate. The visuals are so fun and fantastic. And
Costuming.
then it's banger after banger. All that jazz as an opener.
Oh my God.
Chef's kiss.
What was it, Alex? Skadoosh.
Skadoo. Yeah, it was so good.
There's a skidoo in there that's like a very pronounced skidoo, and it's like more skidoo, please. It was wonderful. And just like the whole setup that like she's at the show where Velma is performing and she's like rushing in right after committing the crime. Like I totally forgot about that whole aspect of it. And she's like real messy. Like she's got the bloody
She's got
gun
the
with
gun
her.
with her.
Yeah, I'm like, honey, this is not well planned out. But she
No.
blacked out. She doesn't remember a thing. So it's not her fault. It was someone else.
I think that there's only one flaw with that opening scene, and that's that. Well, it's hard to say it's a flaw. It's one of those things where it's like, a directorial choice. I'm sure that with the opening number, it's the first thing you're seeing. You want it to be like really visually stunning. From a storytelling perspective, I would have liked to see that the choreography was oriented around two people and not one person. It's like such flawless choreography, but she's showing up by herself at the last minute for the first time. I think that's,
and there's no like
hard,
spacing and pacing issues. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
like
they
a
have
hard choice to
they
make.
have the light. They have the
Yeah.
light thing at the very beginning. So for me, that was good enough. But I feel what you're saying. You know, maybe her background dancers are just incredibly gifted at improvisation.
Maybe.
You know, and they're like, oh, she's not. What was the sister's name? Victoria?
Veronica.
Jesus. I just was saying any old
and
V
Charlie
name.
Doing number 17.
The
spread
eagle.
I asked
Her
my mom,
eyes in that moment. Oh my god. Anyway, what were you saying?
I listened to that soundtrack 1 million times when I was younger as well. And I remember one time being like, is that a sex position to my mom? And she was like, how do you know that? And I was like, context clues. Like, I'm listening, I'm paying attention, I'm putting things together.
It's
But
called
it's literally
listening
not
comprehension,
even.
mommy.
I mean, I could be, but she could have just said it's literally a dance move, which is what they're referencing. But instead, she's like, sure, I'll give you all the information that you need.
When I was in second grade, I was in like a little summer camp production of Grease. And, you know, the song Sandra D. And she goes, look at me, I'm Sandra D. Lousy with virginity. So I went home and I was like, Mom, what's virginity? Right. So in the same vein of like asking your mom. And my mom told me that it was how ready a woman is to be married. And I think it was about 7th grade before I put 2 and 2 together.
Here's the thing. I'm a virgin then, so that's great for me.
She's
so
lousy
great.
with it.
Lousy with virginity.
Lousy with it.
Well, I mean, the other thing about the spread eagle though is like that's a prime dance move to eat a puss. So like, you know, it is a sex act.
It is a sex. It's objectively meant to be a sex metaphor.
It's double entendre.
Yeah,
Sexy double entendre.
Yeah.
But you didn't have to tell your 3rd grader that it's about sex. You know what I mean? Like, you could have gotten around that question.
So what you're saying is you wanted your mom to lie to you?
What I am saying is I learned a lot of things when I was young and had a free access to a lot of information. And yet still, it was not until I was, I believe, in my 20s, perhaps even in my mid to late 20s, that I fully understood the joke where she goes to the doctor in this movie. And then, because it's like she does her whole little fainting thing, and then she's like, oh, the baby. And they take her to the doctor, and then she comes out, the doctor comes out, and Richard Gere is like, so she's pregnant, right? And he's like, oh, sure. And he's like, and you'll say that on the stand? Oh, sure. Okay, zip up your fly. I thought that he just impregnated her while he was in there. And now
Chelsea.
I was like, I know enough about sex to understand that they did sex to make a baby.
Oh my God. You probably thought you were so
joke.
smart
I was like,
in that moment.
Get it.
Got it, Mom.
They did a sex thing.
Once again, I was putting together context clues. I mean, I was doing the work, but it was the wrong conclusion.
Fair.
Okay, well, we're talking about the beginning. We were talking about how Fred had it coming. Avi, there's a whole song about it. But I will say that he was very hot. So, you know,
Donald West is a hot man.
Hot furniture salesman, you know, I mean, the booze, the liquor, it all got her here in Chicago, you know.
I mean, and I would do a lot for 10% off my furniture. Like, there is a lot.
Furniture's expensive.
That's what I'm saying. 10% off of furniture, especially for a whole home's worth of furniture. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Deal.
And back in the 20s, that's like good furniture. It's not like IKEA furniture.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's like
furniture
is
still around right now. Okay, and
honestly,
that's fine.
I've got a dresser from the 20s in my bedroom right now that is still kicking. Also,
that's beautiful.
I love that this movie is based off a play, which was a 1975 play that was based off of a 1926 play that is based off of a true Chicago crime story. So this
Two
is
Chicago crime stories.
it's so
Yeah.
good.
It's so good. And I also love that like the musical came out when you said it did 70s or whatever. And then in the 90s, there was another staging of it and it fucking went crazy. Like everybody was obsessed with it because of the OJ case. They were like right off the presses with the OJ case and they're like, ooh, sexy, murder, like song and dance, a trial. And so people loved it.
Oh my
That
god.
tracks.
Oh no.
Processing.
I know. I was like, oh, interesting that that's part of the reason that people were so into the 90s stage production. And then that greenlit the film. And then here we are.
Here we are.
And apparently who is it? Who played Roxy recently on Broadway? Was it
Pam Anderson?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I
They
know.
love to do a little stunt casting. Lisa Rinna
Yeah.
and Harry Hamlin were also in it recently.
Who was
Which
it
is a
that I
choice.
saw? Alex, did you go with me? When
I did
was it
not.
Christy Brinkley?
It was
Is
Christy
that a
Brinkley.
person? Yes.
It
okay,
is.
Yeah, it was Christy
And you and
Brinkley.
I, it was like 9th or 10th grade, and then we got in an argument because I was like, Billy Joel wrote Uptown Girl about her, and you were like, I don't care, she sucked.
Oh yeah, she wasn't very good. She was no Renee Zellweger.
Here's the thing.
Oh.
Renee Zellweger kills in this movie. Her comedic
yeah.
timing is fucking unmatched in this
So
film.
good.
She's
Oh,
so
she's
funny.
so clever.
I know. Oh my god. I mean, we should have known. I mean, this is not contemporary. When did Bridget Jones' Diary come out? She's
Before
very
this,
funny
I
in
think.
that.
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Then we should have known from that she had great comedic timing.
Yeah. No, she was
But-
a great casting choice for this. I think the whole
Yeah.
cast of this movie is like, I have no complaints about
it's-
anybody.
That's
It's all
why
perfect
everybody got
casting.
nominated for an Oscar, pretty much. Maybe
They're all
apparently-
so
did Richard
good.
Gere? I think he did.
I think he did.
He should.
Yeah.
He was freaking
Catherine
amazing in this.
Zeta-Jones won actress in supporting role. Renee was nominated for actress in a leading role. John C. Reilly was nominated for actor in a supporting
Mhm.
role. Queen Latifah was nominated for actor in a supporting role. Okay, so maybe not Richard Gere, actually. He deserved it, though. He deserved
Everybody
it.
but him.
It.
Wow.
Especially
fair.
because every single person is doing like he learned how to tap dance
He
for
learned
this
to
role.
tap
Like
dance.
Mhm.
He wore that sparkly suit.
He
Come
did
on.
wear
That's
that
all that
sparkly
we
suit.
need. Yeah.
Right? If a sparkly suit can't get you an Oscar, I mean, what can? I've-
He looked
I will
sexy in
say-
eyeliner in the ventriloquist part. Like,
Did.
give him the Oscar. What were you gonna say though, Alex?
I will say the Oscar campaign thing was interesting to me though, because I didn't realize until we were watching it that this movie was produced by the Weinstein brothers. And they were
Yeah.
notorious for their semi-psychotic, extremely aggressive Oscar campaigning, among the other things they're of course notorious for. And so that was sort of an interesting thing for me to note because you know their Oscar ventures were always so interesting. So all right, let's do a hard pivot away from the Weinstein brothers because fuck them.
Well,
Like, I felt like it
here's
was
something
worth
that's
bringing up,
better.
but
No,
not
it's
good.
important. We like to do a light shitting on them whenever we are prompted to. So you know.
we've got
Um,
big fuck the Weinstein vibes on this pod.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
we
yeah.
love
Fuck
that.
'em.
I've seen
Um,
Scream 3.
Yeah, come on. Come on. Here's the thing. John C. Reilly.
Oh my god.
John C. Reilly?
John
The thing
C.
is,
Reilly.
it explains everything that's
Yeah.
wrong with me if you realize that John C. Reilly in this movie was one of my sexual awakenings.
You
Like, when you think about-
imprinted on him. Yeah.
When you think about what my type is, which is sort of like Seth
Sad,
Rogen schlub
pathetic.
with depression issues, like it really, really tracks that John C. Reilly was an important sexual awakening for me.
He is handsome. He has a beautiful singing voice. He has a moving performance and a devotion to his wife, no matter how much she philanders around. And I met him one time and he was really nice. So I think that is, he was
Oh.
awesome. And apparently I asked him about something that he notoriously hates being asked about, and he didn't get mad at me. It was very nice. And I
Amazing.
didn't know until afterwards that it's something he doesn't like to talk about. But anyway, it was Tim and Eric. That's what I brought up.
My senior year drama teacher was his drama teacher.
No way.
Aw.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so,
So,
funny. What a random coincidence.
Technically, we come from the same horrible. I hated that woman. She was the worst. Maybe he does too. Who knows?
You both
Who knows?
thrived in spite of her.
But I just remember when I met him, it was because I was working with him on this like music thing that I used to do like a billion years ago. And my coworker was like, John C. Riley, I can't believe he's going to be there. And I'm like, I'm not surprised that he's doing a musical thing. Have you seen Chicago? Like, he is incredible, but he does like bluegrass singing kind of stuff, which is a type of music that you like, Americana type music, Alex. So it just continues on.
I don't know. I do like Americana folk music.
Yeah, it's folk.
Bluegrass is maybe a bit far for me, but
he looks cute in a cowboy hat, so you're gonna be into it.
I'm gonna be into him no
I
matter
know
what
you.
he's wearing, so it's fine.
Well, another thing that's a fun little Easter egg in this movie is once Roxy gets, put in the clink, and it's found out, and she honestly just does like a really terrible job of dealing with the fact that Amos throws her under the bus, which I can't blame him. I'd be pretty pissed too if I was taking the blame for a murder and then I found out that it's the furniture salesman and she's been getting burgled by him 3 times a week for the last year.
For the last month, not even that long.
last month.
She's been having a whirlwind romance for a month since Velma Kelly. That's the first night that we went out together, which is crazy to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
really paying attention to that timeline because I was like super curious about it. Because I also was like, how long have they been shipping? And like, when did he introduce the concept? I was very curious about her motivations. Like, did she want to fuck him, or did she want to be famous and think he had a connection? I think she was fucking him for fun at first, and then found out that night he was like bragging to show off, and then was like, okay, no, I just changed my mind mid-sentence. I think she met him at the club because she was looking to fuck in general. Because she has that line at one point when it's like during the song where she's kind of like schmoozing on stage and talking and making jokes, where she says, at first I was fooling around and then I was screwing around, which is fooling around without dinner.
Without dinner, yeah.
Which is
Oh my
banger
God,
line.
such a good line.
I think she met him
I'm gonna
that
steal
night.
that.
It's so good. I think she met him that night and he was trying to impress her, which is kind of what he says. And then she latched onto him because of that. I simply cannot believe that he did not mention that he had a wife and 5 little Caisleys at home. That is irrelevant to their business sexual proposition. You know what I mean? No reason to lie. No reason to lie. Unless, I guess, well, she knew he was a furniture salesman. He gave her 10% off.
Yeah, because she was hot.
I don't know.
He's
I
just a
think
bitch.
Going back though to the point about Amos throwing Roxy under the bus, what was interesting to me in my lawyer fact number 1 was that Roxy wouldn't fucking shut up. Like, she just kept yammering and like telling on herself, right? So I'm watching it and I'm going, doesn't this bitch know she has a right to remain silent? And then I was like, I turned to Monica and I was like, wait, does she? I was like, does she have that right at this point in time? So
When
I did a
the
little
Miranda rights exist?
little research, and actually I was right and I was wrong. So your right to remain silent predates the Miranda rights, right? So right to remain silent is your 5th Amendment right against self-incrimination. It's guaranteed in the Bill of Rights. You've always had it. Your Miranda warnings, which were codified in, I think, 66, mid-60s, only are, like, their purpose is that an attorney, like, not attorney, like a detective or a police officer who's arresting you has to tell you that you have a right to remain silent and anything you say or do can be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, etc. So,
and
like,
didn't the Supreme Court just say they actually don't have to tell you anymore?
yes, under certain circumstances, but basically, yes, like, you still inherently have those rights.
You have the right, but they don't have to let you know you have the right. We're telling you.
They're not going to get in trouble. They're supposed to tell you still, but they're not going to get in trouble, or your case basically can't get thrown out entirely.
Get in trouble.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, the police never get in trouble anyway. Oops. Yeah, but it's more like basically your whole case can't get thrown out anymore if you weren't given a proper Miranda reading, and before this you could. But more of the story, to like move off to like boring lawyery shit, is I was like, why is she fucking telling the cops all this shit? Like, why? Like, shut your mouth.
Well, she can't not run her mouth, and that's an issue throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
Like she, like, God love her, I surely relate to her as an attention whore. And so she's just looking for the limelight at every moment, and so she's like like in the fucking, oh my god, in the fucking press conference when
Ugh.
she like takes Velma's words, which were like meant to just
They were
fuck her up
so
and make
fucking
her,
good.
they're so conniving. She's like, make sure Billy Flynn doesn't steal the limelight. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she's like, she gets in front of the mic, immediately forgets everything she's ever known. And she's like, I guess you're wondering why I killed the bastard. Like, girl,
Are you
shut
sorry?
the fuck
Are
up.
you kidding? Oh, such a good line.
I love that line delivery. I also love Christina Baranski as Mary Sunshine. That to me
Oh,
is a
Oh, so
standout
good.
of this movie. But
What
actually, discussion point. I was reading IMDb trivia. Apparently, in Broadway productions, I've only ever seen this as the movie. I've never seen like a production of it as a musical itself live. But apparently, Mary Sunshine's role is usually played by a drag queen, and then there's a moment in one of Mary Sunshine's songs, or perhaps her only song, where they like reveal, haha, she was a man all along.
interesting.
I don't know what that's about, and I don't know how to feel about it, because
That
when I
seems
read
like
it
one of those
it
weird
seemed-
things that people
yeah.
used to like to do a lot.
haha,
Hairspray.
we gotcha. This
Nothing
is
like a
transphobia.
transphobic in a fat suit. I mean, it's
Yeah, and that's
hairspray,
like a
that's the whole
big
thing.
Oh
That's a
wow,
huge thing on Broadway.
The ultimate duo.
And they have had like controversies about that with a recent Broadway production. I don't recall which one it is because I'm only medium Broadway knowledgeable. But I don't know. Christine Baranski apparently said in an interview that she felt bad about taking a role from a drag queen, so maybe it is fun and good. It gave me bad vibes, but who am I to speak on the subject as an authority? That said, Christine Baranski said to make up for that, she had cadence that her version of Mary Sunshine is lesbian, which I love.
Oh.
Yes. Also, because she is in this movie and because of the ventriloquist song, there is a part of this movie when Christine Baranski is flying around in the sky on strings.
Yes.
And I thought that was something that needed to be noted, and it's wonderful.
But Christine Baranski does give us our Mamma Mia connection.
There's always
That's what really
Thank
matters.
God.
Truly.
Because no movie is a
truly.
movie without Mamma Mia.
Exactly.
Okay.
Surprised Mamma Mia doesn't come up more often on the pod, but
It's 'cause
it's
I'm
not a
not-
request.
It's because I'm
That's
not
not a
here.
request.
Yeah, it's because
Just to
I'm not
say-
that much of a stan either. But I don't know.
To be
Maybe
clear,
one day I'll change
I
my
love
mind.
Mamma Mia. I love Mamma Mia, and I so much, but I feel personally victimized by Mamma Mia too, because it came out like the summer after my mom died, and they fucking killed Meryl Streep, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? This is the most cruel, mean thing
Hurtful.
that the world has ever done."
It was
It
her
was
fault.
that, and then Bo Burnham also did that to me with Inside Bitch. God damn it. A little fact that I don't want to get away from me because I think it is very fun. When Roxy first gets into prison, she meets this one random older inmate really quickly, and that is Cheetah Rivera, and that's the musical's original Velma from the
Mhm.
original stage production. And she's only in it
That's
for like
cool.
5 seconds.
And she's
But
a Broadway
apparently-
legend.
Oh yeah. And also apparently there was like not a lot, but some controversy over Catherine Zeta-Jones being cast as Velma, because a lot of people wanted the lady from the 90s stage production, and I can't remember her name right now, to
Well-
be cast instead. And so they were like, oh, you're gonna do Catherine Zeta-Jones? And I was like about to get mad because Catherine Zeta-Jones is everything to me. But also, I like it when they cast the person from the musical in the film musical. Like, give that Broadway person a chance to do what they do on the
Well, and it's
silver
like a
screen.
very controversial historical Hollywood thing, right? Because famously in 1965, Jack Warner of the Warner Brothers didn't cast Julie Andrews, who had like originated the leading role in My Fair Lady on Broadway, and he cast Audrey Hepburn instead. And Julie Andrews winds up that year up against Audrey Hepburn for Best Actress at the Oscars. She had been in Mary Poppins, and she wins for Best Actress, gets up there, And in her speech, she thanks Jack Warner, saying that her winning the Oscar would not have been possible without him refusing to cast her in the production of My Fair Lady. So it becomes this like whole huge controversy and this like big thing within Warner Brothers, where then when the next movie musical they made, which was 1776, a couple years later, they cast the entire suite of the original Broadway cast, for better and for worse, because they didn't want to create another controversy. So this has been sort of a recurrent thing, and probably predates the 60s, but that's just as early as I know of it, where there is a lot of conflict about casting the original Broadway actors or not, because there is some argument about like bankability, star power, and also like it is a different kind of acting. So
no, totally. I totally agree. I think you need to do I think the combo pack is what works best, just from a marketing perspective. Sorry to bring it there, but
but I
if
agree.
if you're part of the reason you bring a musical into the movie world is to get it given a new audience of people who wouldn't be caught dead at the Pantages, but you'd see them in an AMC any evening. You know what I mean? It's like a different audience of people. It's cheaper to go to the movies. And so you can have like the movie stars that would draw that movie crowd, but then you have the Broadway star to draw the Broadway crowd. It just makes sense, you know? Do a little bit of both. Mix it around. Anyway. Is it time to talk about Cell Block Tango? Oh no, we got to talk about Queen Latifah. Oh my God.
So sexy in this role.
So
her
sexy.
titties
also
are
gay.
so prominent.
She's so gay.
She and Velma are fucking.
She's the gayest person.
That's not even part of their
plus
little
size queer
bribery
sex
deal.
icon. Oh, they're for sure fucking.
Oh,
just for fun too, not for any special privileges for anybody. That it's for fun and for passion.
Because they're in love. No, I'm 100% on board for that. Definitely. And like also, I mean, I don't know why she gets so obsessed with Roxy. I get it. I get it. Well, but when you can choose between, I'm sorry, I'm just such a Catherine Zeta-Jones fan. I would never forsake Velma for Roxy Hart. I would never in my life. I wouldn't dream of it. The public of Chicago is wrong. But you know, we love Roxy in her own right. But Velma is where it's at.
She is such. I have to say, Roxy is like Velma is self-interested. Velma is fucked up. But Roxy is narcissistic personality disorder to a T. Like she makes so many.
Actually, though,
she is so annoying, and she makes so many mistakes, and she does so much stupid shit to feed her own insufferable narcissism. I don't remember hating her or watching the movie this much as a child, and now watching it this time, I was just like, oh my God, I hate her. I hate her. So yeah, I'm with you. I would never choose Roxy over Velma.
I think she's fun.
I love her. I think she's fun, but also I was like, "Ooh, girl, you're fucked up."
She's never contemplated that she might have to face a consequence before. She does that whole, I only ever heard no until Amos, who never told me no. But it's like, baby, is that true? Because you kind of seem like you're just rolling. Like, people are not giving you things necessarily, but I don't get the impression that she is struggling that much in her life otherwise. She's just
about
entitled.
Main character energy.
Oh yeah,
she's just like the narrative is about me actually. So like when Mama Morton is like, yeah, so we're gonna take you to Murderous Row, and she's like, oh, is that nicer, bitch? Please.
So, one of my favorite facts is like we know Roxy and Velma have like beef throughout this entire movie. And have y'all ever noticed that like on the Chicago poster that Renee Zellweger's like name is like slightly above, like it's like worded weird. Apparently like Catherine Zeta-Jones and Renee Zellweger were like in like throats with each other over who would get like top billing, and so this was their compromise where like Catherine Zeta-Jones is first but Renee Zellweger's is like bigger, so like
it's like a standard contract dispute. It's like a really common contract dispute.
It's like so bizarre, and it makes the poster look ugly too. It's always it drives me insane. It has always driven me insane. And now I figured out why. And I was like, this is bullshit.
Renee is first from top to bottom, and Catherine is first from left to right. So it's like the diagonal.
And this is like a really standard thing that like
God.
actors fight over, and they'll fight over like who is bigger on the poster. And if the actors are like different heights, you have to resize them so that they appear to be the same height, so that one of them doesn't get
Sweet
more area
Jesus.
space on the poster than the other. Like this was a huge issue for like notoriously for like Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, I was
The
gonna say
Rock
The Rock and what's his
is
face.
so much bigger than Jason Statham, and so like they had to appear as if they weren't, and so it like creates all sorts of like legal issues
There's
and like
lots of
dimensional
stuff with
Photoshop
that.
issues. Yeah, it's
The Fast
really
and
really
Furious
common.
movies, they really like did contracts about like who gets what amount of
Mhm.
punches so that everybody's fight scenes feel equal at the end of
They
the
do,
film.
and who gets the exact same size trailer, who gets larger gym facilities, who gets a stipend for their hairstylist. Like
We'll
I
do
mean,
those
the,
movies one day.
the contract disputes, like entertainment contract disputes, are such a hobby for me. So
We
And I
love drama.
love that Richard Gere is just like,
Chilling.
and I'm here. Hi.
and I
knows
was the
he's
most
not the
bankable
star.
star of the 90s, but now that's past.
He says, I already did Primal Fear in 1996. This is just the musical version. It's fine.
It's fine. Okay, well, it's time to talk about Cell Block Tango. I decided. I decided.
Tried once
We have to
already,
get to it.
looping back around. Yeah. I
Well,
think
we
we could
briefly
go
talked
through all
about
the
how.
songs.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, we've skipped a few already. Cell Block Tango is the greatest song of all time. In this essay, I will argue that.
But it is the best song of all time.
It really is. It slaps in so many different directions. Also, Maya is in this part
Mhm.
of the movie.
That's just a bonus song on the soundtrack. Isn't it?
No, she's
Nope.
in this scene. She's
She's
one of
in
the
it.
one of the
Oh.
murderers.
Yeah.
She
She's
does
lip
have a
shits,
bonus song
isn't
on the
she?
soundtrack, though, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's lip shit song.
Oh, she's lip shits.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm just making things up. I am thinking of this
Artistic
Cell Block Tango.
differences.
He Had It Comin' remix with Queen Latifah, Lil Kim, and Macy Gray.
valid.
Yeah, and you're also getting it confused with the Lady Marmalade. Maya's on the Lady Marmalade
Yeah.
remix with Pink and
I
all
love a
that
collab.
shit.
We do.
It's Maya was all over the musicals of the early 2000s. All right, she knew what she was doing.
Wasn't she in Cursed? Yes, she was the girl in the parking garage in Cursed.
Oh my God.
Wasn't
Wow,
she?
she had a really big 5 years. I think she did.
Wow.
I think it was her.
Yes.
Anyway.
It was amazing.
Circling
That's
back
gorgeous.
to Cell Block Tango, there is the third murderess. She
Squish.
yes, her husband runs into her knife 10 times. Okay, so when we
Mhm.
were little, that scene, so her husband comes in and he's like, she goes, he said, you were screwing the milkman. He was crazy. When I was little, I thought screwing the milkman meant that she was like screwing him over and she wasn't paying him. And I was like, I don't understand why she killed her husband over the fact that she wasn't paying the milkman. Like, this isn't a big deal. Just like put the money
milkman's
together and like
doing
pay
his
the milkman.
job.
Like, why? Like,
Also,
why aren't you
Alex,
paying the
she
milkman?
didn't kill her husband. He ran into her knife 10 times. Were you
My
not
bad.
paying
My
attention?
bad. You're right. I wasn't
don't
paying attention.
understand.
You're right, my bad. But I just like was really confused. I was like, I just don't like, this seems like a really small fight to like involve knives in.
You're gonna do murder over the milkman? It's not that big of a deal.
He was just really passionate about, justice and people being paid their due. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's so many great kills in this. This is the slasher moment.
This is the slasher
and
moment.
Also, way they stylized this part of the whole thing, like the fact that the blood is like these red scarves. They do a lot of great scarf play throughout, especially real quick. When Queen Latifah pulls the
Flosses
green
it.
scarf out of her
Yeah.
boobies and then she flosses it and all this stuff, I was like, holy shit. Anyway, but I mean, every one of these kills is so great and so justifiable, really. It starts out with Pop. And as someone who's lived with my boyfriend for a really long time, actually, I think he's going to be the one to kill me in a similar way as this, because I bite my nails, and when I bite my nails, I like make a little like click sound sometimes, and it drives him fucking absolutely nuts, and he'll just like grab my hand to stop me. But one day he's gonna take the shotgun off the wall and fire 2 warning shots into my head, and you heard it here first, so you'll have proof. Use this to honor my name.
Okay, I mean, that said, I do identify as a pop girly, so
We'll both be
unfortunately,
killed by
yeah,
Adam.
unfortunately, no. My game is always, who would you be in the cell block tango? I would
Yes.
be Pop.
Yeah.
I would be
Oh,
like,
you would be
I
Pop.
told
Oh,
you
I'm
to
sorry.
stop popping your gum. Didn't I tell you? Here's a warning shot. I would be Pop.
Oh, okay.
Who would you be?
I like this. Who would? Okay, I have
Pop,
to think.
Six,
Does it-
Squish,
I-
Cicero, Lipschitz.
I did always identify with Pop as well, because I would be the one to like fucking lose it over something minute. But I also identify with Velma, because I also feel like I would like go out for ice and come back and like just lose my mind. Like that one also speaks to me.
Here's the thing. If I find out if another man ever cheats on me again, I will shoot them dead. A fair warning.
God.
So you
Does
could
have a
be
concealed carry permit, ladies and
Cicero.
gentlemen.
I do.
You could be Lipschitz. You could be Six.
Six.
Lots of options
Yeah.
for you.
6.
Uh-huh.
I also identify with Squish, if only
Squish is-
because the
Oh, okay. Squish is
convenience
the knife.
of getting laid in my own house by the milkman, like never having to leave or pursue someone, does deeply appeal to me.
They come to you. It's a delivery service. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, yeah,
Vitamin D.
vitamin D enriched milk. Ooh, that is disgusting. Okay, no, hard pivot. Thank
That's
you.
not what isn't milk a good source of vitamin D? Like dick. I was not making a jizz joke. I would never make a jizz
It
joke.
sure sounded
couldn't
like
No,
it
I
Sure
would
sounded like a
never
jizz
make a
joke.
jizz
Did,
joke.
though.
I would never.
Did though.
I don't
Sucks
sound
That's
like you
to
I
did.
just
suck.
making a dick
I hate to see
joke.
it.
Oh my god. I
Mm.
quit this podcast.
The one
Alex,
thing that
mediate.
the dissolve the 100th episode, the 100th and final episode of Spooky Season. I think that I'm not trying to blame anyone here, but like the guy's name was Ezekiel. Like you didn't think he
Young.
was a
Ezekiel
polygamous Mormon.
Young, as in Brigham Young.
I
Ezekiel
watched
Young.
Under the Banner of
He's
Heaven.
Brigham Young's son. No, that's not how that
Grandson,
works. But
probably. I mean, that is how polygamy works.
yeah,
Yeah, Mormonism is not that old.
No, Mormonism
This is the
That's
20s.
true.
predominantly
That's true.
1860s onward. I
You're
mean,
right. It is the 80s. I was thinking it was
Oh.
later than that.
No, you're looking at a
Whoa.
generation or two past Brigham Young. I mean, that completely tracks.
his great
One of those
grandson,
Mormons,
Ezekiel.
you know?
Ezekiel. Oh
I
my
have, to,
god.
have to give this movie credit for its pop culture references that are like all time period correct. Like, there were some little things that I wrote down where like she's making references to William Morris. I was like, the William Morris agencies didn't exist in the 20s. It fucking did. It was like 1898. Like there's a
They're
portrait
old
in
as
the
time.
background in the courthouse of like President Grant that's like period appropriate to Chicago because he lived there. Like there's so many little layers of things that I walked away from this and I was like, whoever did the film research for this, no notes, perfect work.
Banger after
Perfect
banger.
work. I don't know who I identify with story wise, but I do love some guys just can't hold their arsenic.
It's
Because,
his fault.
I got into cocktail making
Mhm.
and that just like seems like a really fun and exciting and creative way to kill someone. And I also really liked when she pulled the red handkerchief out of his mouth with her mouth. It was very hot and
And
that
her
was nice for me.
teeth. Yes.
that is
It's
hot.
so
Yeah,
good.
that was amazing.
And poor with her little white scarf.
Oh,
That whole oh my god, that's
when they
That's
hang
also my
her.
rule. Is
sad.
you can never if you're gonna play Who Are You in Cell Block Tango, you can't pick That's cheating.
No one is
And
I
you
was
shouldn't
gonna
want
pick
to.
just to be a bitch, but I don't
No,
want to.
wrong,
I don't
canceled.
want to die
It's
by
not
canceled.
hanging.
fun. You
Well,
have
okay,
to do
but-
a murder. What murder would you do? That's the real question.
Okay, the one thing I do have to say though about Lipschitz, which is Maya, is that she does commit a hate crime because she kills a bisexual man
She
in the
does.
1920s. And think how
Irving.
few of them were willing to go out there and fuck Irving, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's just like, that's not nice. But also he shouldn't have done that either. But, you know, he was just figuring out his sexuality with Irving.
We're sad for Irving, who had a boyfriend. I'm not really sad for her cheater of a man.
Live shit. Yeah. No, yeah, really gets me. That one's like that scene when Roxy, I don't know, I did like a bunch of Googling on that because I was like, this is another lawyer nerd fact. I'll make it quick. But I was Googling it and I was like, she obviously doesn't have a translator, right? Like she's struggling to get legal representation. I was like, is it xenophobia? Is it whatever? No, she was not entitled to a translator in court until the 70s. And even then, only in court, not outside of court. So like talking to her lawyer, she would never have had the right to a translator, which isn't that fucked up? Like even now, she would not have a right to a translator. And like so few women ever get the death penalty. Like I looked it up. There's only been 500 women in all of US history since like the Pilgrim era who've gotten the death penalty, which is kind of cool to be among their ranks, but also like very fucked up.
Hot bitch behavior.
Yeah, she makes me sad.
Wait, so
Yeah, she's
this
desperately
day, you don't-
depressing.
to this day, if you don't have to be given a translator.
So you do in court. If you're a person of limited English proficiency, you have to be given a translator in court. But for out of court communications, meaning like with your attorney, just like meeting with them in jail or some shit, you are not entitled. Like if you're indigent, meaning like you can't afford an attorney or you can't afford your own translator and like the state is providing one, you are not entitled to a translator to this day to like talk to your lawyer.
That's so
now
fucked
you
up.
may get one, you may be able to hire one. I'm not saying no one ever gets one. I'm saying that you're not like guaranteed one under the Sixth Amendment. And that is another legal fact nobody asked for, but that I have chosen to provide.
Thank you.
Well, that's some context to it because
Yay.
it's just like so tragic. But I mean, she is a person in this fictitious play. But it is a great narrative device to fucking slap Roxy across the face and be like, hey, bitch, it's not you launching your career. It's you saving your fucking life right now.
Right. And Billy is like so hard on her on that at the end. She's like, what do I get? Why aren't they taking my picture? And he's like, you got your freedom. She's like, you got $5,000. He's like, yeah. And you're not
for your
die.
freedom.
Like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
But
Seriously,
that's
it's
not
like,
the point.
Well, as it turns out, she gets both.
Yeah.
I do
thank
love
God.
that we get a nice Lucy Liu.
Yes, I had
appearance
forgotten
in
about
this
her
too.
being in this.
oh,
It's
I
so
can never forget
important.
about Lucy Liu. She is so hot always, to this day, forever until the end of time. But in this, my God.
And she's hot when she does the murdering. Like the murdering
Yeah.
itself by her. Because like Roxy's murder is not sexy. Roxy is murdering and you're just like, fuck, man.
Roxy's
Lucy
murder
Liu
is
is murdering?
desperate.
Yeah.
Lucy Liu is a hot murderess. Like we should,
Hot.
She's a pineapple
and when
heiress.
she's-
right?
And when she's when they're bringing her into the jail and she's like kicking all the men in the balls and saying all this spicy shit, I was like, oh my God, Lucy Liu, kick me. Kick
Lucy
me.
Liu had so many moments in the early 2000s where she was just being like sexy Dom.
Yeah.
And she really established a brand that stuck with me for years to come.
Okay, can we talk about let's go back to John C. Reilly and talk about Mr. Cellophane, please, because that is like, not only is it beautiful, it's beautiful, and it's again so vaudeville, all the like the aesthetic influences.
So vaudeville and his little clown makeup, the big shoes.
The big shoes, the big pants, and he's so sweet and so vulnerable, and he had been such sort of like a schlocky comedic actor before this, and this role like totally transformed him and like public perception of him, and I just wanted to reach through the TV screen and hug him.
He also loves clowns, and it was his idea to be putting on the makeup during the performance.
Really?
Yeah, he did his little clown makeup design, and he was like, and I think I should be applying it within the movie. So he was really bringing a lot to the table for that one as well.
Awesome.
Wow, I love
God.
that.
I will accept no, because like a lot of people are like, Mr. Cellophane is like the worst song on the thing.
That.
Show me
there
someone
is
who
a
said
lot-
that. Show me someone
Death
who
penalty
said that.
canceled.
There is a lot of people on the internet that has that feeling when I was like looking up things, and I was just like, you have no taste and you're wrong and you don't understand art, quite frankly.
What's it like to be so fucking wrong?
Those
And what's it
people
like to
have
be
it
on the
coming.
receiving end of my next punch? Oh my God.
I'm gonna
feel
So
take out a
we
red
will
scarf.
accept no Mr. Cellophane slander on
Wow.
this podcast.
This is a pro
Don't
Mr.
you
Cellophane
worry.
community.
It's such a
It's
good song.
so
It's
good.
moving.
It's
You
so
gotta
good.
have. You gotta have okay, I almost said a sexy ballad. That's not what that is, but it's fine.
It is if you're me and
For
nobody
Alex,
else.
it is.
A
For
sexy
Alex,
ballad.
it is.
I have discovered in my recent fandom days that when I like a man best in a production, it's because he's a little wet and pathetic. And I just think that really applies here. And I am talking about Steve Harrington in Stranger Things. He's best when he's pathetic. He's best in his flop era. What can I say?
Can we
Okay.
talk about Billy Flynn now, or are we all out of whack? I feel like we haven't talked about him enough, and there's quite a few songs.
I love when his like song where he's like, all I care about is love, and he's like listing off these things. He's like, I don't care about money, and then it cuts to like the real world, and he's like getting fit in like a nice suit, and he's like
A
in a Rolls
bespoke
Royce.
suit.
And
Yeah,
it's
I
just, like,
loved that.
Oh, fur
it's
trim
such
coat.
a good like juxtaposition. Is
Yeah,
that the
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Thank you.
10 out of 10.
I've slept with a
Beautiful,
lot of
beautiful.
lawyers, so I think that I
Wow.
have absorbed enough.
Juxtaposition, such a
fancy-
lawyer word.
Exactly.
Let the record show
Next,
I am
she'll be
not
saying erroneous.
Wow.
What does
No.
this sound like? A lawyer wrote it?
That's such a good
I just the introduction to Billy Flynn though is so funny in that song when it's like someone shining a man's shoe in silhouette, and then he's like, "Surprise! I'm the shoe shiner!"
Oh,
with
right.
his little
Oh.
fucking hat, and then he strips at the end of that song and takes off like all his clothes, so he's
so
in his little
good.
underwear. Oh my
And
god!
then he
Richard
rips off his
Gere.
underwear.
Oh yeah,
Yes, at the
Oh,
very end. It's so fun. It's so fun.
He's so good in
I
that.
think
Oh, God.
I think the sluttiest thing a man can do is wear one of those little like paperboy hats.
It is. Men need to be more slutty. Like yesterday when Monica and I were watching this movie, her boyfriend walked in and he was wearing like.
oh, they all know Adam. You can
Okay,
call
I
him
don't know if
Adam.
you. I don't know if you need to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
we talk about
yesterday.
him literally constantly.
Let me,
Oh, yeah.
let me restart my story. Yesterday when Monica and I were watching the movie and Adam walked in the room and he was wearing 5-inch inseam shorts, and I literally was just like calling him a slut. I was like, "Wear your little slutty shorts, baby." I'm sorry, men need to be more slutty.
They do.
That's what I love about Adam is that he is a slut.
He
It's the
is.
main thing that I love about him. But yeah,
We love
bring
slutty men.
short shorts on men are the way and the light. Are you listening, listeners? Are you? I know we have male listeners. Pay attention. 5
We want to
inches.
see thigh.
Thigh and like
You don't have to
unbuttoned
show
shirts.
us, but I'm just saying that like we are a great barometer for the women of the world.
Yeah, as this podcast legal representative, I'm telling you right now to please not send them DMs unsolicited of yourselves in shorts, just for legal purposes. But
Unless you look really good.
I'll gas you
Or-
up. I'll gas you up and be like, yeah, honey, wear those short shorts. Let's go.
Here's the thing: you can send me $5, and I will give you a compliment on your short shorts.
What an offer! What a generous offer!
honestly,
Oh,
I think that's a
amazing offer.
steal. I think that's a steal. I've had to pay Sydney way more than that for a compliment.
Oh man. Wait, so Chelsea, you wanted to bring up a song. Which one were you thinking of?
I want to bring up all of the songs, but now that we're talking about Billy Flynn, I just feel I've tried multiple times in my life to be like, were I to cast myself and my friends in a production of Chicago, who should play who? And nobody is
Oh.
really going for this, but I think you would be such a strong Billy Flynn, Monica. I think the show
Oh my
entrance,
god.
the costume, the razzle dazzle. Why won't anyone engage with this vision that I have?
Wow, I
would
agree.
love
Monica.
to play Billy Flynn. I am just yeah, that's that that's
Wow, that's correct casting, Chelsea.
My
What's the rest of
vision
your
for
fan
this
cast?
4-person of the 4 of us right here: Monica, Billy Flynn, Alex Matron, Mama Morton, Sydney, Velma,
Always.
me, Roxy.
Always the mom figure. Never get to be
Yeah.
anyone fun. Always
Yeah.
have to be
She's
the mom.
the sexy one who takes
Mhm.
bribes.
Mhm.
She's the hot lesbian. What are you talking about?
But no, always the mother figure. Always the mother
She
figure, never the bride.
has the power. She also has a cute
but-
little blonde haircut because she's
We just
obsessed with
talked
me.
about- We also just talked about how she's fucking Velma, aka Sydney, and y'all are
That's scam.
married.
That's-
Who would
that
you?
does.
Yeah, let's be honest. You don't want to be Matron Mama Morton. Who would you be?
I don't know who I would be. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. Maybe Amos. Honestly, let's all be realistic here. More pathetic, but
Oh.
ultimately more true to life.
I think this is a beautiful fan cast, and I fully will lean all the way. Oh my god. I literally already have a sequined, like, what's that called? Blazer.
Oh my God, there is no way your dad does not have a ventriloquy dummy somewhere in your house, Monica.
You have those
I
weird
have
puppets in
2
your
puppets.
basement.
I have several cursed puppets in my basement right now.
I
won't
think
be
I
touching
think
them just to make this work. Though.
I think that's
I'm
the
not that.
casting of the
No.
year.
No,
I'm not going to
Monica,
test fate.
you need to convince Adam to be Puppet Roxy, and he can sit on your lap and be. the
Wow,
dummy,
that
and that'll be
feels
your Halloween
good.
costume.
That feels right.
If I
look
was
good in the
Billy
dress.
Flynn
You
and
would
Adam was,
see, incredible.
keep talking. I'm going to go look for something.
Okay, other songs.
That
Other
wasn't on the
songs.
develop- Class, great.
Class
song.
it's not in the movie.
It's
It's
not in
just
the
on the
movie?
soundtrack.
I'm just
they cut
remembering
it.
wrong because I
It's
went
a
to I
DVD
got real
extra.
anxious and went to the bathroom for a minute, and so I just assumed that I had missed it.
You just listened to the soundtrack so much as a child before you ever saw the movie that you imprinted on that song. And I
I'm
also have
totally
imprinted
wrong.
on that song. It's so good.
It's
but they
so
didn't
good.
include it in the theatrical cut.
I really just thought it played when I went to the bathroom because I got too anxious watching part of the movie, and so I just had to take myself to the bathroom to be alone for a few minutes.
What part of the movie
Well,
made you
it's
feel so anxious?
confusing. It's confusing because
No.
yes, I have the sequin coat on now. It's confusing because they have that moment where Catherine Zeta-Jones and Queen Latifah, I'm saying their other names now, I don't know, are sitting together like talking shit.
Yeah, that's where
like,
the song
listening
would
to
have
the
been.
And that's
radio.
around.
Yeah,
'cause
so
I
it feels like that the song happened there because I've listened to the soundtrack so many times, but it didn't actually.
wow, can't believe I made such
Is there a
critical error.
deleted scene?
Yeah, there is.
What? I need
Also,
to watch that right away.
the song that Roxy sings at the end, and then it like cuts from her fantasy version to the reality version where
Nowadays.
thank you, that's the name. That song is
You
great.
can
That song is a
light
sleeper hit.
They're all good. They're all bangers. I know
Yeah,
all the words to all of them.
I have no criticisms about any song.
When we were
There-
first talking about doing this as our 100th episode, I sent a little voice note to Monica and Sydney doing Matron Mama Morton's song, When You're Good to
Oh,
Mama.
yeah.
And the instrumentals of it are really fun to do a cappella. Just every single song a banger. I sing Funny Honey to my little dog because that's my pathetic husband. I just think every song on here, you put it in your car, no skips.
No skips.
No skip.
It is a true
And
no
also-
skip album.
And also, like, when do you get like that belting, that you can do in your car, and it sounds so bad, but you turn the song up so loud you can't even hear your own voice as you're screaming at the top of your lungs. You're stopped at a red light. You're screaming it out. You look to the side. Someone's staring into your car. They're scared. Like, this is the music that you're listening to when you freak out the other drivers on the road, and they're like, should that person be driving right now? No, I shouldn't. Will I continue? Of course. Don't interrupt me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is a fun little Chelsea anecdote for you.
I
I
love
really
it.
wanted to be, for a brief moment in time, until I realized I don't want to do that. But in college, I was like, I'm going to try out for the comedy a cappella group. And then somebody, why are you laughing?
Do you see how high my eyebrows just went up?
Why are you laughing? I'm talented and I'm hilarious. Anyway, somebody told me you had to eat a stick of butter straight if you made it for hazing purposes, and I went, I don't want to do that. But I would email them and I was like, I'm not coming to audition, but if you guys ever want some help writing parodies, let me know. And in my head, I was already composing a Chicago parody of And All That Jazz called And All That Class. I only ever composed it in my head in the shower. I never offered it to them and they never responded to my email.
Chelsea.
So sorry to hear this.
They
Chelsea.
missed out. It's their loss, baby.
Oh,
They
you just
did.
reminded
They
me.
did.
Why does Roxy have like a slight New York accent when she's supposed to be from outside Lubbock, Texas? Like she has
She's
a New
city
York
gal.
accent. Yeah, like she has that, like it's trying to mimic like definitely like a 20s transatlantic accent kind of a thing. But like she totally has a New York fucking twang and she's supposed to be from Texas, let alone when they're trying to pass her off as being from Mississippi.
A Southern gal. Oh,
Don't
apparently
you dare criticize Renee, okay? They don't
she's
want to hear
Australian. She's doing her best. But a fun little fact about her fake backstory that they come up with is apparently in the 20s and around that time, lots of ladies were coming up with fake backstories when they were trying to be famous. Because back in that day, you could kind of just make shit up, and unless somebody
Yeah.
was going to like
Oh, yeah,
hire a
there's no
private
fact
Who's
detective,
gonna fact check her?
yeah,
Yeah.
you could hire a private detective to look into that things, and like if you're famous, maybe somebody would. But for the most part, you can kind of just like spin your little web. But the whole my parents are dead. I wanted to be a nun. I went to this good school. I had a violent boyfriend. Those apparently became like such huge tropes of that like fake backstory genre that by the 20s, any lady who was saying that was like kind of getting laughed off stage about it. Because it was like so clearly a red flag for lying.
And the convent one was particularly common. I have to shout out my own folk here. Because most Jewish women and a lot of like vaudeville performers in particular were Jewish, and they all changed their names and lied about being Jewish basically because otherwise they wouldn't be able to perform. And so the like claiming to be Catholic bit was basically like a standard call. Like it was sort of like one of those like, oh, okay, cool. And I'll just say I'm Catholic. You know, I went to the convent of the Sacred Heart, which is what they do with her. And obviously her character is not like implied to be Jewish, but it was sort of a very common thing during the vaudeville period. Because no one likes us.
It's so historically accurate.
Yeah, that's
Dear
what I'm saying though.
God.
This movie, just the like all the research I did into like little things that bothered me and stuff. Like I kept looking for things and I was like, no, whoever did the fucking prep work for this, 10 out of 10, no notes from me, the most anal retentive, history-minded film watcher on the fucking planet. No notes.
They did.
It's the perfect booby.
They have some like anachronisms, especially when it comes to Miss who I believe is a Russian actress playing a Hungarian. Character.
Mhm.
So her accent makes like her Hungarian lines like almost completely not understandable. And also her name in this script, she like has a name as a character, but they just call her this specific word that I don't know how to pronounce, and I also don't know how offensive it is, so I'm not going to say it. But essentially, it's just like a slur for immigrants, Hungarian immigrants. They like never give her a name, and I don't know if that was just like the old play or a new thing. I don't know if it's like a choice. I mean, I think it works because they sure are taking away her autonomy and persona at pretty much every single moment. Although I think this production does a lot to like humanize her story and make it so sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that particular thing is whack. Apparently on IMDb they translated it, and there's like one word where they're like literally not even sure which word it is. But if you are wondering, what she says is, how did I find myself here? They say my famous lover and or neighbor. That's the one people are not sure about. Held down my husband and I cut his head off. But it's not true. I am innocent. I don't know why Uncle Sam says I did it. I tried to explain at the police station, but they didn't understand. And then apparently at one point she is talking to Billy Flynn as he walks by and is like, "Help me, please!" And she like slips into Russian at one point there as well. But unless you speak Hungarian and Russian, you're not gonna get that.
Which
As
admittedly
I
none of us
do,
do.
and so that was very
Yeah.
offensive to me. Definitely. I'm kidding.
But before we get to the segments, I just think there are a couple things that I feel in my heart I need to highlight. I love how we see Catherine Zeta-Jones, her whole, I was in such a state of shock. I don't remember a thing. She says it like twice throughout the film, both in the Cell Block Tango and then at a point like later on in an interview. And I just love how it's like so clear that that's like her rehearsed little thing. I love that Roxy faints not just once but twice on the stand. She faints.
Oh my
and then
God.
you see Velma listening, and you hear Mary Sunshine being like, "Oh, she's back up. She's okay. Oh, and she's fainted again." I just think that is so hilariously funny. The fact that she's
Iconic.
wearing and stole Velma's garter in that moment as well. The double
I would have
cross
lost my
with
shit
the
too.
diary.
So
The double cross with the
Seriously.
diary.
Just their whole relationship, we haven't touched on that much.
We'll
My
get to it in our
favorite
segments.
line in the entire movie, that's not true, but it's up there, is when Tay Diggs is like, "And here's Velma Kelly in an act of desperation." It's so good.
I have to tell you, my favorite line is, "That's because none of us got enough love in our childhoods."
Childhoods.
Showbiz kid. Oh my God. I love that part.
It's so good.
There's so
Oh,
many
so
good
good.
one-liners in this.
I mean,
Yeah.
and well, do you have more
The courtroom
points about the
tricks.
inside?
Yeah, I just want to say the courtroom tricks are so phenomenal. The double faint, the diary, the fact that he brought Amos into his office to be like, "Are you dumb? Can't you do math? Can't you tell this isn't your baby?" Just to put him on the stand and then be like, "How dare you question your wife? That is your baby, isn't it?" He looks over at Roxy. She goes, "Uh-huh." And then he goes, "My baby." And they have this like dramatic reunion to sway the jury. I just think Billy Flynn, he's an icon. He's a genius. He's a dreamer.
He's
visionary.
everything.
So
He's
deeply
everything.
unethical. But it's fine.
So unethical.
Because there were no
but
legal
that's-
ethics codes till the 70s, really. So
That was
it's
the
fine.
point.
And then
You know, it's showbiz. It's like there is no right and there is no wrong. It's all just manipulating the crowd. That's like the whole thesis statement of this whole movie.
And also that your moment lasts only a moment. So you better fucking
Yeah.
enjoy it, because Velma loses her moment. Roxy loses her moment to Kitty, aka Lucy Lou. Roxy steals the moment back. Roxy thinks she's having her big moment. No, another lady shoots a man outside the courtroom literally as soon as the trial is over. Everybody moves on. Fuck off, Roxy. Like,
You are not important. You are not
You're
special.
not
You are just another
special.
cog in the machine, baby.
Yeah, and it sucks because like it feels like they care about you, but bitches are fickle, you know?
Bitches are fake.
Fans are fickle.
that
Except
Velma
for Spooky
had to
Tuesday
go.
listeners.
Yeah, that Velma had to go to her in the "I Can't Do It Alone" song. And then that they had to that Roxy thought she had the clout in the moment to be like, fuck off, and also stop eating caramels. She had actually a really great banger of a line in addition to the caramels in that moment. But I can't find it in my notes because I found it. When she pulls out the newspaper and she's like, "Oh, you're in here too, all the way back by the obits. Velma Kelly's trial has been postponed indefinitely." 7 words. Like, she's so cunty.
So good.
She's
She's so cunty. And then they have to team up at the end. And
I don't
and
want
there's-
the movie to be too long, but I would have liked to see how the fuck Velma got off, because she like was already a free woman when she took the stand. Like she was already out,
She turned the evidence in, purportedly. That's how she
so
got
that
off.
they just got her out. Just
Yeah.
She
like
turned
that.
state's evidence,
She
basically.
didn't have to have a trial or anything.
Yeah,
made
they
a
dropped
did
deal.
a plea
Like a
deal.
plea
Plea
deal.
There's this little scene that I think is really
Smart.
telling at the end, and I'm not quite sure how to interpret it, which is when Velma comes to see Roxy at the theater, you know, where she like is like, "Come on, do the act with me," right? And she like reaches down, Roxy drops her music, and Velma reaches down to get it. And there's like this little shot of Velma's stockings, and the knees are worn through, like there's holes in the knees. And I wasn't sure whether that's like meant to infer that she's been on her knees. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge,
Oh,
or that she's
God.
fallen on hard times and she's so poor that like she can't afford new stockings.
I
could
really
be
hope
both.
that
Rouged
it's the
her
latter.
knees too many times.
Bruised her knees and pulled her stockings down. Boom, boom, boom.
It could be
Yeah.
both. She is too poor. She's not making any money. So she's getting blowjobs and she's just like, why buy new stockings?
Yeah, well, and I think it's like I think it just goes to show the level of attention of detail that goes into this movie, right? Because that's a 2-second scene, but it's still I noticed it, you know?
Stacked with meaning.
So many symbols, so much symbology.
Oh, yeah.
We do
Cinema's
have to
an
go to our
art.
segments soon, but do you think that people are going to be disappointed that we really hyped how much we'd be singing this episode and we've sung almost not at all?
They should
That's
be
because I have
grateful.
a sore throat.
They should
We
be
haven't
grateful.
gotten to the segments yet. I'm going to sing the whole, I'm going to do it like a rock
That's
opera.
what our segments are. Let's go one by one and sing the song.
Am I allowed to remove myself from the Zoom before the segments start in order to avoid listening to that?
No.
Mean.
No. You have to sing too. What are you talking about, bitch? Come on.
Right.
But here's the thing. The ending of this movie is the best shit I've ever seen in my life because we love it when two hotties collab. You know what I mean? And I love how tongue in cheek it is, and I love they bring out the guns.
Oh, so
Every
good.
single part of it. That song slaps so hard. It's way better when they do it together. Alex, you were saying something about the choreography yesterday.
Oh, the choreography is like most of it is a nod to Bob Fosse's original Chicago choreography. It's not identical, but it's pretty similar. And like Fosse had like very distinctive choreographic style and like certain hand movements he used. And like he was fabulous. I mean, he's the godfather of like modern choreography as we know it, right? Did I fall down a pretty aggressive Bob Fosse rabbit hole when the TV show came out last year, Fosse Verdon? I did, or 2 years ago, whatever it was. But like he's so iconic. So many of like the greatest musicals and movie musicals even that like we have today were all choreographed by him. So there's like that whole scene is very much a nod to him, the original like co-creator of the musical itself. So I love that. I, as a film nerd in a very niche and specific way, enjoyed that. Thank you.
Hell yeah. No, that was it was so awesome. Oh, I love this movie. Okay, I guess we should go to our segments.
Thanks for having me
How
on,
could
guys.
this movie? No, it's not over yet, babe. You're in the segments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got our segmentos.
It's like
yeah.
she's never listened to an episode before.
We have 3 segments. Here's the first one. How could this movie be gayer? That's the question.
Okay.
We could have had Roxy and Velma hate fuck on screen.
They don't.
Yes.
They shouldn't hate fuck on screen. They only get together after they become a double act later on. I think then it's
We
like
should have seen Mama and Velma fuck though. There should have been lingerie
Yes.
scenes of them
Yes.
like clearly in bed together. That's like a missed opportunity.
They should have been lying in bed together listening to the radio, talking shit about Roxy.
Some light tit action, that would have been good.
yeah, I think Velma and Matron Mama Morton were fucking. I think Roxy and Velma only fuck years down the road. I think that when the reporter asks Kitty if she knew the two ladies personally, and she goes, "Did I know these two ladies personally? Was that your question?" And she asked it so sexy. That's gay to me.
That is gay.
Yeah.
Christine Baranski, she said Mary Sunshine is gay.
Gay,
That role
yeah.
could have been a drag queen, and I'm willing to leave space for that being positive, but also I love Christine Baranski. And I'd love her to be a lesbian. So that works for me as is as well. I think Lynn, there's room for him to be gay.
I was going to say, I think he might be
That
compact.
razzle,
He might be a little
dazzle.
compact, you know what I mean?
Or I think he could just be under the radar because, like, we see him being so sexual only in the songs, and then in the songs he's like, it's all about love, anything for love, and then in the reality that we see outside of Roxy's imagination, he's like, I don't give one shit about any of you ladies. Give me money.
Maybe
Money,
he's
please.
metro, maybe a little more metro. I could see that.
He is on that date at one point, and he's with like 3 women. So
Oh fuck.
But there's men there too.
He's a bi icon. I stand by that.
He could be
He's a
bi.
icon.
He could be bi.
I feel I get
Honestly,
I get about if it's gonna be an accurate casting as me as Billy Flynn, okay, then he's bi.
I think
There
the
you go.
only straight person
That's
is
the
Amos.
proof.
Wait, question for Monica. Would you want to be a gender bent Billy Flynn, or would you do it in drag?
Drag king.
Drag king.
Ooh. I feel like I could rock it either way because I'd always wanted to get a short haircut.
Billy Flynn spelled Billie, you know? Could
Oh.
be a little gender bend.
I-double-L-I-E. We're all hers. It could work. We'll have to do a little rhyme work, but we'll make it happen. I could go either way. You know me.
I think Lucy Liu's character is bisexual, and the only reason she shot all of them is because she wasn't invited.
That I
I
think
think that's
that's
fair.
right.
Yeah.
Didn't invite me to the threesome.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, if that wraps it up for all of our the gay that we could pull out of this very gay film, it's innately gay.
Mhm.
Then we have to
That's
ask
all Broadway is.
where would Matthew Lillard fit into this movie?
Oh, as
Fred
Amos.
Casely. Oh.
Oh, maybe he could do Fred Casely, but I think he would have. I think he would make
he
it.
could do Amos.
I think he could do Amos.
He kind of does Amos a little bit in Good Girls.
Oh,
I've never
He's
seen
not so like
Less pathetic.
sad for his wife.
I guess
in
that's why
that
it makes
show,
more
but-
sense for y'all because you've watched it, but I haven't watched it. And in 2002, he was in the prime of his life, just coming off of Scooby Doo. I'm not sure if that's exactly the right timeline,
think
but
it is.
we're close enough.
Yeah, Fred
So-
Casely would have been a great.
Fred Casely is
Yes.
a good call. You know what? I will give you
I
that.
love him as Fred. We could add a different dynamic to the main cop man too. The one who's like really going after Roxy and have him be hot, so
Yeah.
you're a little bit more confused.
I think he
Yes.
could be anybody but Tay Diggs. Like I think
Tay
Tay Diggs
stays
has
the
to be
same.
Tay Diggs.
right. He could be anybody but Tay Diggs.
I know who he could be. Remember when they do that little like flash thing and they're like in her house and they're like selling all the stuff and then they go and there's this one guy who like lifts up his shirt and he has like a Roxy tattoo. That could be Matthew Lillard.
That'd be fun.
Yes.
That
That'd be
feels
fun.
good. That feels
A
healthy.
blink and you missed it.
I love a little
Why
cameo,
didn't they
yeah.
do that?
Yeah,
It's a really
didn't
big
have
We
missed
need
to
more
audition.
stunt
opportunity.
casting, you know?
I like
Come
that.
on. We thought it was the perfect cast. No, they made one egregious error.
Forgetting
Oh my
Scooby Doo's
Did
own
you
Matthew
know-
Lillard.
Wait, sorry. Just while we're talking about casting, did you know they wanted John Travolta to be Billy Flynn?
Yes, I
Yes.
did know that.
And Michael Jackson originally they wanted to
No,
be Billy
that's wrong.
Flynn, which
That's
I
That makes me
simply
want to die.
cannot
A
even
crime.
imagine.
A crime.
We have to
Illegal.
change the subject because I'm getting upset.
Okay.
Illegal.
Like that is
As the
horrible.
podcast attorney,
Okay,
I'm telling you right now
dumb
that's
bitch.
illegal.
Dumb bitch.
Dumb bitch is the person who almost cast Michael Jackson. Dumb bitch.
It's Amos.
It
Yeah.
It's Amos.
It
No.
is.
It's
I
Fred
say it with
Casely for being a
affection.
jerk. It's
No,
Fred
it has
He
to
had a
be
good
Liar
scam going there for a
and
minute.
cheater and a jerk. Okay, it's Fred because
He's
it
a
can't be my
liar. He's a
boy
cheater.
Amos.
I say with love in my heart, Amos is such a dumb bitch. He just
The
gets played
pregnancy,
left and right.
yeah.
He really
He's the most
believes it in the
gullible man.
courtroom. He comes over to her at the end of the trial and she's like, "Are you a dumb bitch? There's no baby."
Straight up.
And even in
She
when
literally
he's in the
doesn't
room
even
with
know what
Billy.
he's talking about. She's like, "What are you talking? What?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, that fake baby. Yeah, no."
No, and when he's in Billy's office, like he does not get the map. Like he just stares blankly at Billy for so long.
I think another good dumb bitch are the people who murdered
The
So
state,
the state of
Illinois.
Illinois
He's
is
a
the dumb
dumb
bitch.
State.
And as somebody who has lived in the
Compelling.
state of Illinois, I can confirm.
Wow. Compelling, Sydney. Compelling
True.
evidence here.
It's true. It's true.
I mean, I think that I prefer the state of Illinois over it being Amos because I don't my little Amos, but he's so stupid.
But
He
he's
deserves
dumber
an
than
Gotta be a
award,
the
tie.
though. Don't you
He's-
think he deserves an award?
Here's the
He
thing,
didn't
though.
get the
Win
Oscar.
something.
does.
Here's the thing. Amos is stupid, but he's not the dumb bitch, you know? He's like a little dumb, but he's not a dumb bitch.
The dumb bitch is like the bitch part of it. You're like mad, you know?
Yeah.
For me, that's how
We
I
are
feel about it.
often
I won't
mad.
speak for you. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm like,
So the
like
state
the
of Illinois
mayor
it is.
in Jaws. I
Mm.
hate him, you know? But here,
Valid.
like, I can't hate him. I love him. I cherish him. I will take care of him. But yeah, state of
I will
Illinois.
certainly take care of him.
Alex will take care of him.
John C. Riley, if you're
Uh,
listening, call me.
And
Oh
his
my God.
wife.
Can you
Don't
believe-
exclude her.
You're right, my bad. She has to be invited to the threesome, just like Sydney.
Can you believe that Alex was trying to skip out before Knives Out of Fives?
Right?
That's like the whole point of the podcast.
That's
isn't it?
like,
I don't even
give
know if
us
people
your
listen this
knives,
long.
Alex.
Knives Out of Fives is the rating system that we use here on Spooky Tuesday.
Does she not know that? She has to know that.
Look at her face. She doesn't know. She has
Alex!
no
She's
fucking
never
clue.
listened to
She's
this
got no
podcast
fucking
before
clue.
because she
Oh my God,
hates us.
She's fired.
It's a movie review podcast, and we're gonna skip the review part. It's okay. I love you. I'm kidding. I'm
I
just
love
raising
you
it
guys
because
so
it's
I
my
don't know
job.
how
It is
she's
my
gonna.
job.
I don't know how she's gonna represent us if she doesn't know all the dumb things we're saying every week.
No, you guys will just send me
No.
clips of the relevant episodes. I don't have to listen to everything. Are you kidding
It's
me?
all relevant.
You're not paying me for
Every
clearance here. You'd have to.
word
Do you know how much
we
more money you'd have to
say.
pay me to listen to this fucking podcast? Considering you currently pay
Fine.
me no dollars.
All
I
right,
paid you
let's
$1.
not be mean.
Okay.
Look,
we're
I
moving
love
on
you
from
I'll
guys.
pay
these
you
awful-
another $1.
I just, for the record, for all of your listeners and fans, these are my 3 closest friends whom I love more than life itself, and I do listen to them talk for hours on end every week off the podcast.
I hear enough.
So-
That's what
and
you're
so
saying
I
right
think-
now.
If
think
I
it's
hear
not
Monica's voice
unreasonable.
one more time,
I have already heard it several times today. So I think I think
I
I'm
did
being
call
very
it before my
reasonable here.
haircut.
You said in
All right,
order
fine.
to me to have the capacity to listen to you in real life, I simply cannot listen to your podcast.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
that's why I'm
Kind of
dating
fair.
Adam and not you, because I said, Adam, it hurts my feelings you don't listen to the podcast. And now he does.
But also, like, to be clear, I live in Los Angeles. Like, every third person has a podcast. So
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
but we're
canceled. You're kicked off the
important.
podcast. We're special and we're the only ones. Anyway, in Knives Out of Fives, which you wouldn't know about this, Chelsea likes to set the scene with what the people at large thought about the movie before we rate it. So Chelsea, set the scene.
On IMDb, this movie has a 7.2 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, this movie did better than that. It has 86% fresh from critics and 83% fresh from audiences. As mentioned, it also won 6 Oscars. I'll list them: Best Picture, Best Actress in a Supporting Role for Catherine Zeta-Jones, Best Art Direction and Set Direction, Best Costume Design, Best Film Editing, and Best Sound. It was also nominated for Best Actress in a Leading Role for Renee, Best Actor in a Supporting Role for John C. Reilly, Best Actress in a Supporting Role for Queen Latifah, Best Director, Best Writing for Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography, and Best Music Original Song for I Move On, which is the credits song. And
I don't
best,
even know that one though.
that's the I just move on. I move on.
I never
Nope.
listened to that one.
No
I
idea.
really never
Well,
listened to that
no
one.
So
clue.
much for no
That's the only one.
skips on the album, you liar.
we must not have had the
I don't
extended edition.
recall.
I don't remember that at all.
I don't recall.
And I remember
I don't
Class,
know
so I'm
her.
telling you
She
right now, I
pleads
don't
the
remember
fifth.
that.
She pleads the fifth.
Oh my god. Okay, well, who wants to give their review first?
5 knives out of 5.
Yeah, I agree.
Six knives out of 5. 6.
Oh,
6
Oh
knives out of
wow, you could do that. You could do that.
Six
That's
knives out
fine.
we
of
do
with
do
me.
that for special occasions.
I'm gonna say
I'm-
5 still for me. I'm trying to be a little less crazy with my reviews.
Well, this
I've
is
been
my
giving too
first
many
review.
5s. Oh
You
no,
know,
it's-
How about
This
Hat
is
Baby?
probably
Yeah.
it's-
So-
Would anybody like to say more? I'm so sorry, Sydney. I cut you off because I had to agree vehemently.
no. This movie
Enough.
slaps. It's
Enough
still-
said.
Like, what is there to say? This movie is the shit.
It's
mean,
amazing.
It's so good that I literally threatened all of you guys to make sure that I was on the podcast for this
Yeah.
episode. And I don't threaten lightly, you know, I pick and choose my
No.
threatens. So
Yeah,
my
otherwise they
threat-
don't seem
Real?
seem as legitimate if you're threatening all the time, you
Yeah,
know. So I
but
get
just,
it.
you know, threaten out. Yeah. So
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, this is like so important to me. This movie, it is like so important to me, and watching it again was so important to me.
yeah.
And I am gonna be listening to the soundtrack every day for the next week and a half, and that's gonna be fucking sick.
Yeah, I did most of my gushing at the beginning when we first started talking this episode. So I don't have that much more to add. I just think it's beautiful. I think it deserved every Oscar it got, and I think it deserved more Oscars than it got.
I
Agreed.
agree. John C. Riley deserved it.
Agreed.
Should have had it all. Our boy. Well, that closes the
Okay.
book on our 100th episode with special guest Alex. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast lawyer. You keep us out of legal trouble daily.
Thank you
and
so much
keep
for
us out
having
of,
me.
I don't know, emotional trouble hourly. So thank God for you.
You know, I am here for all of your needs. Most of your needs, I think, is realistic. But I love you guys, and I'm so honored to have gotten to feature on this special episode. Thank you for having me. I know you'll probably will never have me back again, so I really cherish this moment.
Yeah, this is the only time.
She didn't even know Knives Out of Knives.
Oh man. So that brings us to next week's episode. We are kicking off the month of September. And so we're going back to school, which is horrifying. It's the beginning of fall, but we live in California, so it's 100 degrees here. So it really doesn't feel like it. But we're trying to set the vibes right. Okay. Spooky season is amping up. So we are doing a classic that I have never ever seen before, but I've heard great things. It's 1998's Urban Legend, and I'm really excited for this one.
This movie is fun. I think we're all gonna have a great time. Jared Leto is unfortunately a jump scare in this one, so be aware.
Oh man, I always forget he's in that movie. I'm just focusing on, actually I literally don't know who's in the movie, so never mind.
I think we're all trying to forget that Jared Leto just exists, period. No
Yeah,
need.
we'll try to talk about him a little to not at all. So that will do our very best. But anyway, we've just hit a big milestone. 100 episodes. That's an insane amount of episodes for just 2 years of podcasting. As we were discussing, maybe on the record, maybe off, it took 5 seasons for Gilmore Girls to get there. How
Oh, I
many
think
Yeah.
that was off,
seasons?
but
That was
yeah.
off the record, but yes, 5 seasons, middle of
Yes.
season 5 before Gilmore Girls hit the 100th episode.
Exactly. Yeah. 5 seasons, 5 years. Only took us 2. We're very quick. Yeah. So this is a great impetus for you to write us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Why not write a beautiful, oh my God. Yeah. We only have 92 ratings. We should have 100 for 100 episodes. Don't you agree?
I
Monica, has
agree.
Adam ever left a review yet?
I'm sure
I
he
didn't do
did
that like
stars.
week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've already pimped out most of my friends. I am gonna see a large swath of my friends. Did I use that word right? I don't know. We're moving on. Of my friends this weekend, and I will be stealing every single one of their phones and putting a rating. But maybe I don't have 8 friends. You don't know. So why don't you help us get there? 5-star review. Okay. thank
Honestly,
you.
the most
Um,
implausible thing you've said on this entire podcast is that you don't have 8 friends.
They don't know me personally, except actually a lot of our listeners follow me on social media. And so I hope that I give off a vibe that I have more than 8 friends, but you never know. Anyway, why not follow us on social media though? Speaking of which, at spooky_Tuesday on Instagram, TikTok,
TikTok.
and Twitter.
The
And we're
hottest
also
new
at
social media.
Spooky Tuesday. Hey, I'm on Be Real now too. Don't follow me there. I won't accept you, but I'm now Gen Z. Big update. At Spooky Tuesday Pod on Facebook and Tumblr, and we're also at Spooky Tuesday on Letterboxd. And don't you dare forget the YouTube video, the only one. Don't forget it. That's it.
You You didn't say thanks for listening.
Oh shit. Thanks for listening for 100 whole episodes.
Bye, Spooky.
Now look, Hot. I don't like to blow my own horn, but believe me, if Jesus Christ had lived in Chicago today and if he had $5,000 and he'd come to me, things would have turned out differently.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at _the_moon_omg.